What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. Today we're going to talk about an unsung hero, a guy that a lot of people had a lot of love for, a guy that a lot of people thought was a top 5 player in the league and still has shown that he can still play. He's still athletic. He can still dominate and get rebounds. He can still protect the paint. Not as good as he used to, but he still can be a solid rim protector and put in the right system. You probably still can technically anchor your defense around him. Obviously, when he got traded to Charlotte, I thought that they'd be better because Steve Clifford teams, even though he's been out, Steve Clifford, um, even for him as a coach, he's a defensive-minded coach, an old-school kind of coach to me. Even when they didn't have great offenses, they always relied on their defense to win games. You add in Nicholas Batum with Michael Kidd Gilchrist, and you have Dwight Howard in the paint. You obviously think that that's a team that can be a great defensive team with length, with speed, with athleticism, in size at the 1, 2, 3 positions, and at the 5. Obviously, you still have Marvin Williams as a stretch 4, so he's lanky, he's long, he's athletic, and you have Kemba Walker, who's a quick, speedy point guard. The only problem is Kemba not really known as a defender, and Nicholas Batum got injured before the season started, so they had to build chemistry. They had to be right. And honestly, the team is mediocre because Gilchrist not really known as an offensive player. Nicholas Batum never been a great, amazing offensive player. He always been solid, and he always was good when he played off other people instead of creating his own shot. Even when he first got to Charlotte, we thought it was a big move for Charlotte. I told you guys that it wasn't going to throw them over the top as far as being a contender, and they obviously gave Nicholas Batum an extension, and that allowed him to stay in Charlotte because they really couldn't find nobody to come to Charlotte. So they tried to find a wing that was solid, and Nicholas Batum was the one that came up because Portland wanted to get rid of him. And next thing you know, you have a guy that you're paying a lot of money to that's just good enough as a playmaker, as a lanky defender, never been a knockdown crazy 3-point shooter. He had years when he had shot 40 to 50% from three. I mean 30 to 36 to 40% from three. But ever since he got into Charlotte, he's been shooting more threes usually than he ever shot besides 1 year in Portland, which was a 12-13 season when he shot 6.1 and shot 37%. He never cracked the 36% or more since he's been in Charlotte. And on top of that, he played and started 24 games this season, and he's shooting a terrible 28% from three, even though he's shooting a career low in Charlotte of 3.9 3-point attempts. You also have his field goal percentage plummeting. Like I said, he never been a shot creator. He never really been a guy that can get his own basket. He's a guy that can play off other people and use his length and size to shoot over people or just knock down wide open threes and mid-range jumpers and get to the paint when he's slashing to the rim, or at angles where he can use his length and speed to protect the ball to get dunks and layups. You also have in Charlotte, since the injuries have taken place, he only shot 42, 40, and 41% from the field. So he still is a great playmaker, averaging 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He averaged 6 and 5 basically in Charlotte. His point total is down, but he is coming off, like I said, a major injury. So you look at that and the fact that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist got an extension, but he's been injured majority of his career, never really played that many big minutes, never really was a guy that could stay healthy for long portions of a season. The guy had just missed so many games. It's just hard to gauge how good he can be. And you got to also put in perspective that with those injuries, that hurts his growth and stunts his growth because he's not getting better because he's rehabbing to come back to play in the NBA games. And with those injuries has really stunted his growth. A guy that was titled a winner and has a lot of potential. He played all 6 of his seasons only in Charlotte. This is his 6th season, and he's shooting high from the field, but he's not really a 3-point spacer. I mean, a floor spacer. He's not really a knockdown 3-point shooter. Not really even a knockdown mid-range shooter, but he can post up with his quickness and blow by guys and get a lot of cuts, kind of like Andre Robertson, how they use him in OKC. Not really known as a scorer, not really known as a floor spacer, not really known as a free throw shooter, but he can shoot high from the field because he plays well off others, and that's something that Michael Gilchrist made a career out of. Playing this position defensively, being able to switch, having athleticism, and just playing with his mind and not trying to do something that he can't do, but you still would like to see some type of development and some type of improvement offensively from Gilchrist because you want the best player you can get, not just a guy that's a specialty player. You want to see how far he can go in development and how good he can get. And with injuries and not really showing that much improvement, Gilchrist hasn't really panned out the way we thought. And then you got to think about it: if Nicholas Batum not knocking down threes, and Kid Gilchrist can't knock down threes, and Dwight Howard not really known as a stretch big, and he can't really stretch the floor in general because he's not really a shooter. He always had that little bank shot in Orlando. He used to catch the ball in the high post and throw bank shots, or he'd just blow right past you and get dunks and layups around the basket. He's more of a people like him as a pick and roll dive player, and a guy that can catch lobs, alley oops, and get a lot of putbacks. But Dwight has did more since he in Charlotte. The coach has given him more freedom. He's able to take jumpers. He's able to take a little bit more threes. But when you get Dwight Howard, you think of him more of as a defensive player than as an offensive player. And they have been having with these injuries, they haven't really been able to form chemistry and identity, and they have been a disappointment. I got every team in the playoffs right so far besides Charlotte. I thought they'd be playing better. I thought they'd be a better defensive team than they are. And like I said, if you think about it, Nicholas Batum hasn't been shooting well. Gilchrist is not on their shooter, and neither is Dwight Howard. Is in a pace and space era that we in, they are the complete opposite of that. And even though they can guard a lot of positions and switch and have a rim protector in Dwight Howard in the paint, they still haven't been able to put it together defensively or offensively. But Dwight has shown more improvement offensively in Charlotte because he got more freedom, but he hasn't been the defender that was the 3-time in a row defensive player of the year and the All NBA defender. Dwight Howard had just slid so much. But I wanted to ask you guys a question after going through all the ups and downs and how their career has been. Let's get to the question before the video is over, and that is, do you guys think that Dwight Howard can still be a quality player on a contender? Kind of like Andrew Bogut. Andrew Bogut was injured. He was a solid playmaker. He was a defensive player of the year candidate when he was starting for Golden State, even though he got injured and that took him out of the race. But Dwight Howard still, if he has the right coach, he can still anchor that defense. He still has speed. He still has burst. He can still contest and challenge shots in the paint. He doesn't foul out as often. He's not getting as many technicals, but he still can give you rim protection. He still can give you great rebounding, and he can finish around the rim still. And he can give you a little bit more than that if you really want him to. We prefer him not to because he basically went from being a spoiled kid in Orlando, getting everything he wanted, getting the teammates he wanted, had a coach that basically allowed him to become a defensive anchor because of that system that Stan Van Gundy had produced in Orlando. And he was a dominant offensive player to a certain extent because he was able to average over 20 points a game a couple seasons. But after the back injury, the labrum, and just consistent injuries even in Houston with the knee, Dwight Howard has been losing some athleticism, and he hasn't really developed offensively like we thought he would because he was improving a lot in Orlando. And then after he left Orlando, his career just took a downward spiral as a top 5 player to now probably just barely a top 100 player at this point. But he's still on a decent contract for what he's producing, 15 and 12. That's still great numbers, and I think he can get that even on a contender because like Serge Ibaka averaging 12 and players like Taj Gibson and Steven Adams, you're not really going to pay as much attention to Dwight Howard because the fact you have to worry about other stars if he was on a contender that can take away from him, kind of like Houston when he dominated against certain series like against the Mavericks. He can still kill you on the boards. He can still get putbacks. He can still dunk that basketball, and he can still set hard screens and roll hard to the basket. And sometimes he can knock down at 15 and below jump shots and little hook shots when you need him to. And you can throw him the basket every couple blue moons, and he can give you some post-up plays or even foul out other centers. But do you guys believe that Dwight Howard, if he left Charlotte, which he most likely will because it's been a disappointment, just like when he went to Atlanta, he disappointed in Atlanta a little bit, even though they made the playoffs. And in Charlotte, he's showing that he still can play. He still has a lot left in the tank, and they did get him on a decent contract compared to other people like Bogut and Mozgov. He still is on a decent contract for the talent that he is showing. So let me know what you guys think. Can Dwight Howard contribute on the contender? Can he still be a third or fourth best player on a championship team? Do you think he can still anchor a defense if he gets the right minutes, if he gets the right coach that knows how to put the right system intact and in place for he can be a rim protector and have the right defenders to aid him on the perimeter so it's easier for him to protect the paint in the inside. So let me know what you guys think about Dwight Howard. And check out my website, nonsensplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also, if you're on Twitter, it will automatically send you to my YouTube if you want to watch the video. Like the video on YouTube and subscribe if you're a fan. Obviously, my website will be in the description of my Twitter. And if you're on my Facebook page watching, check out my YouTube. It'll be pinned on my Facebook page. Also, my website will be in the description of my Facebook page. And if you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, check out my website, and check out my Facebook page. They'll be in the comment section below and in the description. Click the link and send you to my website. Click the link and send you to my Facebook page and like on Facebook and check out the website. It's free. Free videos. There's nothing you can do about that, especially when they're great like the ones that I make. And let me know what you guys think about Dwight Howard. Is he a washed up? Is he a bust? Is he just too goofy? His teammates always dissing him. Do you think he have enough left in the tank to make a championship run like Carmelo did going to OKC? He still can play. He still can put up numbers. He still can rebound. He still can be a threat in pick and roll. Is that enough to put a team over the edge if they trade something little for Dwight Howard?